Hello and welcome to Is Riverdale Good, the weekly podcast where we recap each episode of Riverdale and explore ships, theories, casting news, official press, juicy off-screen rumors, and answer the question on everyone's mind. Is Riverdale actually good? I'm Chris, and with me, as always, is my partner in life, love, and podcasting, Brittany.
Yay!
This week we're talking about Chapter 4, The Last Picture Show.
Riverdale, keeping with the theme, this title is also a film. It's a drama from 1971 about two best friends who are high school seniors. Two best friends, who could this be about? Two male best friends, I will say, in a town in Texas that's really small and kind of dying. One is dating a, quote, local beauty, and one is dating the coach's wife. Miss Grundy, is that you? And, you know, graduation's coming up and they have to figure out if they can get out of the town and, like, how to build a better life somewhere else, or will they be stuck in the town forever?
Interesting.
This is very poignant for this episode.
Yeah.
I'm super here for it. And not to spoil it, but I loved this episode.
Yeah, this was a much better episode.
It was so much better than episode 3.
We had a lot of concerns about episode 3 that we talked about, where it was like getting kind of after school specially, and it was just doing all these things. And then this
just
one,
like came out guns blazing, like so good.
And we watched this, and it was fun. It was like, I think
it was like just campy enough, not over the top. Like the dialogue, they kind of reined in a little bit, but it was still fun and whimsical. And you had enough mystery, and you had enough teen. You had the perfect amount of both aspects of the show.
It was taking itself just seriously enough. You know, I think that was the key.
Exactly right.
That it wasn't taking itself super seriously, but it wasn't also being super ridiculous.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, this is a throwaway show, like ha ha ha.
And you feel right off the bat that like, for the first time after the first 3 episodes, that it's kind of like aware of what it is, and it's like okay to like
into its stride.
Have fun with that. It really starts hitting its stride. So let's get into it. When we last left during episode 3, Dilton Doily was asking Jughead and Betty to bury the gunshot story in favor of his story.
That he saw Grundy.
Yes, that he saw Grundy by the river on the 4th of July, which, of course, Jughead knows that Archie was with him. And so this story can't get out because it will ruin Archie.
Yes. But Jughead was like, the Pandora's box has been opened. There's no way we can save him.
There's no way we can save him.
I'm just hoping that... And at the end of that episode, I was like, good, because I'm ready to get Miss Grundy out of here.
We're ready to be done with Grundy. So this episode begins with Jughead narrating from Pops, announcing that the Twilight Drive-In, where he works, is closing. It's his home away from home.
How rude.
Yeah, exactly.
Just when we needed a place to escape the most, with escape into movies, they're like, no, we're closing that down.
Exactly. And
bummer.
Sheriff Keller is investigating the murder, but Riverdale is becoming like Salem during the witch trials.
I loved the opening sequence of this show because it showed everyone like at home in their natural habitat. Like the Blossoms are in like a greenhouse with orchids all around them.
And Keller's like talking to them. Yeah.
Amazing. So it's just kind of like getting you the mood.
And part of that is Betty wrestling with this new knowledge about Archie being with Grundy down by the river. And she writes in her diary that, you know, Archie was down by the river with Grundy. And she doesn't know what to do about
I know what, and they don't know that he was probably with her now that we found out she was there.
Yeah.
She doesn't know for sure Archie was with her at this point.
True.
But she writes in her diary, like, I'm pretty sure he was also there.
Yeah. That's right. So then we seamlessly transition into Miss Grundy playing with like a string.
This is weird.
A string quartet or
in
whatever.
In a gazebo, like in the middle of town. It's like, and like every time she's playing, it's like weirdly sexual because she's got like this giant cello or whatever, and she's just always like.
The cello was a good
phallic symbol. It's really bad.
Yeah, like Freud would be very proud of this.
Exactly. The whole time I'm like, ugh. It's just like they picked it on purpose. Just like everything about her is uncomfortable. And you're like, no, everything is wrong. It's all wrong.
To be fair,
don't get near her.
Her playing cello there isn't super uncomfortable. What makes it uncomfortable is that Fred and Archie are there, and Fred leans over to Archie and says, "She is incredible." Which
I am like speechless. It's so gross.
Yeah.
And then they go up and he's like, Archie, I had to beg Archie to take me along. Like, whatever.
You couldn't stop Archie.
Ew. Yeah. And then he's like, you should, then he goes, I don't know if you noticed this, if you're going to be alone tonight, AKA like trying to see if she's got a boo.
You know, if you're not with your husband, boyfriend.
What's your name? Wait, your boyfriend. Is he coming back?
Yeah.
Is he tall? Is he hefty? And he's like, well, if you're going to be alone tonight, you should come to dinner with us. And Archie's like, and she's like, oh, I couldn't impose. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's not what you say. You say like, I don't think that's appropriate. Thank you so much, though. Like,
But
no.
why wouldn't it be appropriate?
Correct, exactly.
Yeah.
So
not
she
appropriate
agrees
because
to
I'm having sex with your
go
son.
to dinner with them.
Yes, so they head over to Pop's, where Jug and the rest of the gang are also hanging out.
Yeah, Kevin,
already.
Veronica, and Betty are all there.
Yep, Jug is complaining about the drive-in closing, and the gang like is not happy.
Everybody doesn't care. Like,
They're
you
like,
know,
"We've had
Veronica's
it."
like, I mean, we have Netflix, we have VOD, like, no one really goes there. And Kevin's like, yeah, it's really sketchy, like, you know.
We learned that an anonymous buyer has bought it from the city. So the city owned it. Now an anonymous buyer has bought it. And Archie, because he's the projectionist there, asks what everyone would.
Jughead?
Who did I
You
say?
said Archie.
Oh my gosh.
jeez.
Oh jeez. Jughead is the projectionist there, and he
How
asks.
dare you get them confused?
He's asking everyone to suggest a movie. He says American Graffiti, but maybe that's too obvious, which
to
made
be
me
fair,
cringe a
probably
little
is.
bit. I was
Well,
like,
it is too obvious.
What, how is it obvious?
I don't know. American Graffiti. It's similar to like what the episode's named after. The last picture show. It's just a bunch
guess
of
so.
kids on the eve of their high school graduation being like, "Have we done everything we wanted to do? Like what?" And like one kid's thinking about going to the army, like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, all right.
So in general,
Well-
but they're like, who even goes to the drive-in? And Jughead's like cinephiles and car enthusiasts, and then he goes, right, Bets.
Yeah, and
Well,
then
little nickname action.
Uh-oh,
And
and
then Betty was literally daydreaming about Archie and Grundy, and she's like, yeah. She just
Sounds good.
agrees.
But
without even knowing what the conversation
even
about.
mid-daydream, she makes the best suggestion, which is rebel without a cause. Jug likes it. He
He
says,
seems like he like calmed down a little bit. I think he kind of realized that he was like getting out of control, and she was like, I don't know,
maybe,
how
yeah.
about rebel without a cause? Like essentially like calm down. Like you're being a rebel without a cause right now.
Oh.
And then he just looked over and smiled and was like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Then we have a really brief scene where Cheryl is snarking about Hermione Lodge, who came to pick up her check, which...
Well, the girls tell her that everybody really likes Veronica now after all the River
that's
Vixens
right, yeah.
love Veronica
Veronica's
because
cool
she
now.
shut Chuck down and all that stuff. And she's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So she's afraid she's losing her minions. So she...
It's true. We'll get back to that in a second. What's more important is that Fred,
Ew.
Archie...
Well, there's nowhere else to go to
and
dinner in
Grundy.
this town.
Right, this is the one restaurant in
Everybody
town.
goes.
So they show up there. The gang is very surprised, and Betty gets straight up from the table.
Jughead's like, no, Betty. No,
Walks,
no.
Yeah, walks right up to their table and says, Archie, can I talk to you outside? Where she hits him with the knowledge. She asks him straight up, are you and Miss Grundy like a thing? And
She's like, she was at the river. Were you with her, or what's going on with y'all?
Yep.
And then, of course, because what this conversation needs is Veronica also. She, like, pops outside just in time to overhear the fact that Archie says they're kind of together.
Yep. And then Veronica asks, what is she to you? Your teacher, your girlfriend,
your booty tutor?
What?
Spoiler alert, she's a booty tutor. That's correct. That's what it is.
I guess
I think.
I never heard that phrase. I haven't researched.
I mean, that's not like a real...
I haven't pulled up Urban Dictionary for
Yeah, right.
it.
Booty tutor. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, Chris.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah. I would like to interject and say that Veronica is wearing a flawless coat
The cape is
situation.
back, yeah.
And like she wears it through the rest of the episode and it is flawless. That's all I have to say about
this
that.
scene is great because for the first time we're like, okay, we're saying what we've all been thinking, that this is ridiculous and gross that Archie is together, and Archie
Both of them are like,
an
ew,
idiot
why?
for doing it, and Archie is like actually ashamed of it, and
Yeah, he knows that it's not a good idea at this point. I
it's
feel
great.
like, you know.
As soon as this scene happened, I was like, okay,
We're getting to the end.
we're back.
Yeah,
we're
here
back.
we go.
After all the heavy drama of the first two episodes, which was very good, and then the weirdness of the third episode, then this happens.
It's
and we're
more fun when everyone's friends and everyone is
Yeah.
trying to help each other rather than this weird thing of like
exactly. It's settling in.
weird infighting.
Exactly. It's settling into like, okay, the gang's all here. We're having fun.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not like, we're taking it seriously, but not too seriously.
Exactly.
Speaking of seriously, though, Cheryl spies Hermione
Around back of Pops.
around back of Pops, talking
this
with
really
a
sketchy looking guy.
quote-unquote Southside Serpent.
Yeah, which is the first time we've ever heard anything about the Southside Serpent. So, us as the audience are like, what? Who's the Southside Serpent? She's like, why is she arguing with the Southside Serpent? Who they be?
Yeah.
She takes a picture and then we get the title card.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, we're going to intro like another dark aspect to the show.
Exactly.
These Southside Serpents.
Then after we get the title card, we're back at school next day.
Yeah.
Jughead is passing some flyers around about the drive-in closing. It's the final showing.
Guess what movie?
What movie is it?
It's Rebel Without a Cause.
Oh, interesting. Who suggested that?
Who suggested that
again?
Betty.
Oh.
Who liked that suggestion a lot, Jughead. Interesting. Okay, to be fair, the first time we were watching this, I was like, felt like I was grasping at straws during these like little things, and Chris was like, I don't know, and I was every single thing that happened, I was like, oh really? Like, and he just thought I was being crazy, but
I thought but as we'll
was
see later,
we'll find out.
We'll find out soon.
Yeah.
Archie is with Jughead, though, and he needs reassurance that Betty will not publish the story about Archie's torrid affair with Grundy.
Ew.
And Jughead teases him about a little bit, which is nice. Like
that was funny.
What would have been a super serious conversation the first two episodes was like, there was a little
because they're friends again.
Yeah, exactly. They're friends again.
He's like, dude, come on, Betty. If there's like even a chance that something would hurt you, Betty wouldn't do it. And then he pauses the perfect amount of time and goes, probably.
Yeah. And he also
Archie's
says,
like, what?
In reference to the drive-in, Jughead says, I'm also trying to hold on to something a lot older than me.
It's amazing. It's so good.
That's
it's just so much more fun this episode.
Exactly. And that's the kind of thing, like, no one would also say that in real life. Like, it's unrealistic. Like, that
but,
he
like,
would
it's
have
a
such
great
a
burn. Like,
remark.
what a sick burn.
But when it's fun like that,
it's great.
You don't mind
You just let it go. You're like, oh,
it's a far cry from when Veronica was like these
scorched earth on
the
miscreants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Totally
way
different,
better.
Much better. So anyway, Betty
is giving me full Nancy Drew in this episode, and I am here for it.
Yeah, earlier she was doing a little sleuthster. That's their Google replacement.
Sure.
Was sleuthster.
Naturally. It's Google for sleuths.
Yeah, exactly.
So Nancy Drew exclusively uses sleuthster.
It's really the Alta Vista of this day and age. So she was doing some Googling about Miss Grundy, and now she's interviewing Grundy for the paper. She says,
Betty, you so shady, and I love it.
She says, we're just doing some profiles on some teachers, so tell me about yourself, like what other schools have you been to? Basically, like confirming her resume.
Yeah, but actually, she's like, here and there, and she's like, but you've worked at other schools, right? And she's like, of course. And Betty's like,
but they were
I get their names?
But they were all temporary assignments. I was never there for very long. And we also learn that
this is the most dramatic thing.
She tutored Jason Blossom.
That was the sketchiest. I'm like, she is so dangerous. Like, she's a murderer. At this point, you're like, Archie, you gon' die.
Yeah.
She's like, have you ever tutored any other students other than Archie? She's like, this other kid, and also Jason Blossom.
Yeah, it was like Taquito Hiroshima or something like that. And Jason Blossom.
I'm looking at the football team, like the quarterback, the captain of the football team.
Right.
For music lessons?
What instrument do you think he was playing?
We should ask Cheryl. We should tweet at him and say, what were you getting music lessons for?
Yeah, exactly.
Quote unquote music lessons. Mm-hmm. But anyway, and then I love that Betty leans in and she's like, yeah, and he was kind of cute, right?
Oh,
like trying to be girlfriends with her.
She tries to bait her into
so
saying
close.
like, oh yeah, he was cute.
Oh yeah, he was adorable.
But she's like, I don't think my students.
You got us this time, Grundy, but you aren't going to get away that easily.
We're on your trail. We're on
so close, Betty, so close.
So then we're back in the student lounge. Kevin and Betty are talking about going to the drive-in, or I guess Kevin and Veronica.
Are like, let's just go together.
Yeah, and
Enter Cheryl with the bombshell of a photo of Hermione Lodge and
she comes
Southside Serpent.
Snarking at Veronica for no reason, and then
it's not for no reason. All her friends like Veronica better than her.
Oh, right, my bad. Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's a good reason.
Yeah.
But she shows Veronica that her mom. She shows her the picture of her mom dealing with the Southside Serpent. Veronica, being new in town, doesn't know anything about the Southside Serpents. I think Kevin gives a little backstory there.
As the sheriff's son, Kevin knows everything about everything.
Yeah,
clearly, he's like,
track.
They're a biker gang that mostly stays on the south side. Of town. They're pretty dangerous. Like, they're drug dealers and petty thieves. I'm like, notice he didn't say like murderers.
Yeah, right.
He was like, they're pretty dangerous. Like, sometimes
criminals.
They steal things out of people's cars on the south side of town.
Make sure your car radios are safe, everyone.
And like, they deal the drugs. I'm like, I'm pretty sure all the rich kids on the north side are buying those drugs anyway. So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What I mean?
Why didn't we get to that in this show?
Exactly.
Who's buying the drugs? It's the all the football players who got kicked out recently.
There's no market for it. They wouldn't be making any money.
Interesting. Anyway, so Veronica goes straight home to the Pembroke, confronts Hermione.
She's like, Mom, what you doing hanging out with like a gang member? And Hermione's like, lol. well, I went to high school with these guys.
Yeah.
Like, they're fine.
I'm not in any trouble.
She's like, I was just being polite.
I was just being polite. I went to high school with him. It's no big deal.
She's like, I grew up here. I know these people. Like, he made a little lewd comment and I put him in his place or whatever and whatever.
Veronica is not
I'm
convinced.
just talking to him.
Yeah.
She's like, when have I ever lied to you? I'm like, right now.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the first time, apparently.
I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah. I can see it in your smile.
So then we cut to town hall where the mayor is explaining to Jughead that the sale of the drive-in is complete, despite a sob story he tells about
this was
he
so
and his sister
sad.
Jelly
He was
Bean.
like, listen, like my family, we used to go all the time. We didn't have enough money for all of us to go, which is only 4 people. And he's like, so my sister and I would hide in the trunk and we'd jump out. And I was like, oh yeah, Grease. Remember when they did that for the drive-in? And Kaneki like bangs on the trunk and 4 of them pop out of the back.
I do not remember
all the
that
T-Birds
part,
pop out Kaneki's trunk and they're all in the drive-in, but it's the same thing. And you know, she's like, the future of Riverdale is at stake. It's like out with the old and with the new. Like it's kind of an eyesore, and it's not the best place.
It's both prime real estate, the mayor says, but it's also
she doesn't tell Jughead it's prime real estate.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
skipping ahead.
but it gets sketchy later. Let's get
to it. So then we go back to Pops, where Betty and Veronica are confronting Archie with the research that Betty has done on Mrs. Grundy.
Which is that she has not existed until a year ago. Like all her like Facebook and LinkedIn and all that stuff just popped on a year ago. There's nothing before that. And all they found of someone named Geraldine Grundy was an old woman who recently died. And it's like, because in the comics, Grundy was like an old lady. It's really cute.
They have a real picture of a woman that looks just like the animated Mrs. Grundy looks like. So,
lol. Good one, Riverdale.
Yeah, perfect little reference there.
So good. And then Archie goes, this is another one of my favorite Veronica lines. It's way better than anything else she's said in the previous episodes, where he's like, where did you guys even get this? She's like, the deep web, the dark internet.
Yep.
JK, it's all online. Just use Google.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you. Yes. I'm like, Archie's so stupid.
Another perfect moment where they're like poking fun at like the super seriousness
how intense it is to spy on someone. I'm like, no, you just like type it the name into your computer, Archie.
We're basically, this is like an episode of Mr. Robot. No, just kidding, it's Google.
No, it's like what every girl knows how to do, which is Instagram stalk.
Yeah, exactly.
Spoiler alert. So he's like, let this go. Like, this is ridiculous.
Betty is worried that Grundy is dangerous.
And he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm with her.
And Archie says, if you're really my friend, you will let this go.
She goes, okay.
Mm-hmm. But does she?
No,
we'll find out
not
soon.
Trick.
So then we go to the Grundy's house where Archie and Grundy. Archie's created like a fake drive-in for them.
It's like an at-home drive-in because he's like, since we can't go to the closing night together because you are my teacher.
It's also kind of hilarious. He has a literal film projector for them, which
I don't know. She probably has that. But anyway, he's like,
she probably got it from the dead woman. She's impersonating.
You know what? That's fair. You know, he's like, he tries to do a little bit of his own investigating, but like he's Archie, so like I don't feel like he really questions things. He's like, well, we always talk about me, like what's going on with you, like did you always want to be a teacher? I'm like, way to lead with the hard questions, Archie. And she's like, oh, I graduated Juilliard, but I couldn't make the cut anywhere, so I became a teacher, which I'm like, I'm pretty sure all teachers hate that.
Yeah.
If you can't do
Thanks for the stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's great. And then he asks, where does this end, Geraldine?
She goes, I don't know.
I'm like, I'm hoping it ends in this episode. That's what I'm hoping.
That's what the fans want.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
But it's not what Archie wants because they immediately proceed to make out.
Gross.
But while they are getting it on inside her house, outside the house.
B&E with B and V.
So true.
Yes.
Betty, who had...
Nancy Drew again.
I knew these devices existed, but I didn't know that's what it looks like. Betty pulls out, I think you call it like a Slim Jim or whatever. It's a giant piece of metal that looks like a machete.
Get the,
that you use to jimmy open car locks. So she pulls that out of her bag.
All of a sudden, she's like Hermione Granger, just like whipping stuff out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, excuse me.
Veronica is very like, oh, I don't know if we should be doing this. And Betty's like, no, come on.
She's like, got it.
Yeah, she goes,
Thank God she has an old car.
Cars with my dad all the time.
Yeah.
Pops the lock immediately. They climb inside and find a lockbox that she also picks with a hairpin.
With a bobby pin. She's like, bobby pin, got him.
Amazing.
She's like, I've learned it in the Nancy Drew like sleuth like book or something. I don't even know. I was like, this is amazing.
That was a great line because
so good.
Veronica cuts her off. She's like, I learned how to do that. Nancy Drew number, blah, blah.
And she's like, whatever. Like,
Veronica's like, yeah, let's go.
Okay. What's in there?
So they
find some fake IDs
and
with the name Jennifer Gibson. And they're like, who is this? What? And
A gun. A comically large,
like revolver that looks like it's from Westworld.
It basically looks like the gun you use when playing Clue.
Yeah, it does. It looks exactly like that. It's like Miss Grundy and the VW Bug with a revolver.
Exactly.
So that's what that happened. And then immediately they like meet up with Archie right outside his house, and they're like, guess what? She's not who she says she is. Her name is apparently Jennifer Gibson. We found a gun. And he's like, what does that even mean? Who is Jennifer Gibson? And
they're like, you didn't ask
open
her about
your
her
eyes.
name, did you?
They're like, you didn't ask anything. And he's like, no, I didn't really do that.
Yeah, and in the earlier scene, they were like, Archie is under her sexual spell, which
that's true.
To me, I was like,
that's exactly what happened.
We're finally putting it out there. This is not like, we're not taking this seriously, like blah blah blah. It's like, no, Archie is being an idiot. So that's fantastic.
I mean, he's supposed to be 15. I assume this is who he lost his virginity to.
Oh,
right?
I don't know. Yeah,
because the summer before his sophomore year of high school, he has sex with a teacher.
I mean, I don't have any evidence
who
to
is
support
he
it
sleeping
either
with
way.
before that. It doesn't seem like he never really dated Betty. Veronica wasn't in town, and it's not like he was with anybody else. I don't know. So anyway, there's that.
Yeah, so
that is a pretty heavy sexual spell.
Yeah, exactly. And so again, Betty and Veronica tell him, you got to wrap this Grundy thing
get this
up.
together.
Yeah. Then we cut to Andrew's construction, where Jughead is appealing to Dad of the Year Fred Andrews not to tear down the drive-in.
He's like, give me a week to find out who bought it so I can talk them out of it. And he's like, no, sorry, this is a big contract for me, so I can't.
Sorry, bro.
Gotta look out for myself. You understand, right, kid?
Yeah, exactly.
And Jughead says, well, you already put one Jones out of work, and now you're putting out another. And he's like, Jughead, your dad was stealing material from my job site. I had to let him go. So we find out more about his home life.
Yeah.
So that sounds terrible.
Speaking of home lives,
I like how he still managed to be friends with Archie, even though he knew that his dad fired his dad. He didn't, what I mean?
I think again we see that parents and kids are two different worlds here.
That's true.
And I think he knows that,
Archie
is not his dad.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway,
and if his dad was stealing stuff, like, you can't really be mad.
Yeah,
you understand.
It's true. Speaking of the adult world, we're back at Town Hall, where Hermione Lodge is dropping off the bag of cash that we saw in the first episode.
Black leather gloves and a giant bag of cash for the mayor, Josie's mom. Let us not forget. And she's like, thanks for your discretion and for goosing this deal along. Lodge Industries now owns the land on the Twilight Drive-In. And that's where we find out it's like the town's most prized piece of real estate.
It's prime real estate.
And the mayor's like, the Blossoms can't find out that I made this deal happen. Yeah. So I don't know why they can't find out. Probably because they wanted it for themselves, but we'll find out.
So we go from that intrigue back to the lame intrigue. We're back at Grundy's house, where Archie is confronting Grundy about the fact that her real name is Jennifer Gibson. And when he hits her with that, she takes the glasses off. She
gets real serious.
Gives the story, as in a bad relationship, her husband
was drunk and she ended up in the hospital with broken ribs and a broken collarbone. He said it wouldn't happen again, and then it did. So she left and got a divorce and changed her name, and then she met Archie and everything is okay. And then she's like all, very emotional, and he like hugs her and he's like, oh God.
Archie buys it. Which
we don't know if this story is true or not. This would 100% explain why her name just popped, on the level. On one level, I hope this is true, because I really hate when it seems like women lie about abuse, because it makes abuse survivors less likely to be believed, which is ridiculous, because most of the time when someone says that someone hit them, they were abused. Right. So, but I felt like in this show we're like kind of conditioned to not believe her. Right. Because she's already kind of sketchy. Yeah. So I didn't like that.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Because I really hate because then people point to this and like, see, people lie about this all the time. Like, what about the men's? And it makes me so mad.
I wish they had given her another backstory.
Right? I don't know. Some other reason. Like, she witnessed a crime and she had to go into the witness protection program and change her name. Yeah, just something like that. And that's why she has a gun, because she had to testify against someone. Yeah. And that might have fit better with the plot of the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if she was a Jean Valjean kind of criminal, like she committed crimes but for good reasons, and maybe she needed to go into hiding in a small town.
Her brother was in trouble with the law and like something happened. You know what I mean? Just like something else.
But it also, and this is the thing, it's like I don't know whether we're supposed to.
We're just supposed to feel sympathy for her.
Are we supposed to think of her as like a predator or not? You know, because it's like it also explains why she like falls in love with Archie. It's like she's like looking for somebody she can confide in, you know, so I don't know.
That might be true.
Yeah.
It might be true.
Anyway.
I don't want to not believe her.
Right. Agreed.
And I'm worried that the show made you feel like you weren't supposed to believe her.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what happened there.
So then we cut to the Keller household, Sheriff Keller and his son Kevin. And
the most intense murder wall you've ever seen in your natural born life. Like their entire house is covered in Jason Blossom evidence.
This is one of the best scenes in the whole series.
I love this too. So sweet.
Kevin goes up to his dad and asks to borrow the truck. And his dad, the sheriff, says, "Isn't there a nice gay kid at your school?" And Kevin says, "Yeah, Dad, me."
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to go with Veronica."
Perfect. Yeah.
I know. He just wants his son to date someone. And then he's like, "Yeah, you can borrow the truck, but the drive-in is like kind of dangerous because some unsavory characters hang out there. So no cruising guys tonight. We both know what happens in those woods." And he's like, "Dad, I love that." It's just like, Dad. He's like, "Oh my God, Dad." It's like the most just normal conversation. I love it.
It's very,
and it's like, Dad, you're so embarrassing. God.
Yeah, it feels very authentic.
Amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, not that I could speak to the authenticity of that scene.
Well, that's true. But it felt very natural.
It was the opposite of what we were looking at last week, where they made a lot of that kind of stuff very after school,
right.
especially.
This was just like, of course.
Right, exactly.
Just a normal scene, of course.
Exactly.
Like, it just blew right by without standing out.
Right.
But it just stood out in a good way.
Exactly.
Because it seems like they have a good relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, we don't know about if his mom is alive. We have no idea if he has a mom or she's alive or whatever, but it seems like they're very close.
Yeah, exactly.
I like.
Yeah, I like that too.
About time to have one decent dad in this town.
Even if his dad doesn't totally understand, you know, Kevin's world.
He totally supports it.
It's great. Also great. We get to the Andrews house,
great too.
where Mr. and Mrs.
Guess
Cooper
who's at the door?
Are dropping by to have a little parent-to-parent with Fred Andrews.
This is when she's like, "Fred, I think we can all agree here that Betty and Archie should stop hanging out. It's best for both of them." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." She's like, "I see him, Fred. I see him sneaking out all hours of the night, sneaking into the darkness." And Hal's like, "Okay, like, so anyway, if you could just like try to keep them apart." And Fred's like, "Are you spying on me, Alice?" And she's like, "Let's go.
Let's go, Fred. We've given our advice. It's up to them if they listen to it."
It's up to him if he ignores us.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, Betty and Archie are going on a walk, and Archie is explaining Grundy's story, that she was in this bad relationship and everything. And Betty maintains that Archie should get out of
She's like, "You're over your head with this."
She's like, "This is just too much for you.
It's best for you." And she's like, "And think about what's best for Grundy," which is, I think, what really, like, Betty is so good at like being able to get to Archie. Like, she's like, "Well, I don't know if it's best for Miss Grundy for you guys to be in this relationship anymore," like based on what she said. And he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll deal with it my own way."
Yeah, I'll deal with
Betty,
it on my own terms.
Inceptioned into his brain, you genius.
Got him. She's pushing this whole thing along. She's doing her best to get Grundy out of here.
Amazing.
Then we cut back to the Pembroke, where we learn Fred is escorting Hermione Lodge to the drive-in tonight, which shakes up Smithers a little bit. He is surprised. Fred Andrews?
Yeah, I love that. She's like, "I'm taking Fred to the drive-in, so all the pieces are in place." I'm like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, what does that mean?
And then he goes, "The drive-in with Fred Andrews?" I was like, "Oh my God, this guy's amazing!" Like Smithers, most stealer, most underrated character, Smithers. And she's like, "So it won't seem like out of place, like suspicious or anything."
Yeah, it's
if I go with an old friend.
Yeah, instead of being an old crone going around.
Which I guess just means like she wants to like stake out the drive-in, because we know at this point she's buying it, so she doesn't want to kind of like show up. Like, it doesn't make sense for her to be there to check out the land, so she goes with Fred instead.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Then we cut back to the Cooper house, where
things about to blow up. Here's where it goes from like 60 to like 120.
It's true. Alice is dropping off some laundry in Betty's room, and as she's going through her drawers, she finds the gun.
She's like, "What is this revolver in my daughter's sock drawer?"
Yeah, that they pulled out of Grundy's car.
Betty, hide guns a little bit better in your room. And she goes straight to Betty's diary. She knows exactly where it is. She starts flipping through it, freaking out.
Right off of
Betty's like, "La la la." You know, they cut to her coming up the house, and Alice opens it. She's like, "Fine. finally. And Betty's like, Mom, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, we're going to have a talk. What is this? And she literally just holds up a gun, like in plain view of the whole front yard of the neighborhood.
Brandishing a gun.
Yeah. And Betty's like, oh, I can explain. And she's like, oh, you will explain. But right now, get in the car. And they're like, but she's like excited. She's not mad. She's like, ready.
Yeah,
she's like, okay, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, yes, finally, we have this gun. Like, let's get in the car.
So true.
So then we get in the car and we go to the drive-in.
Yep. And so everybody's there watching Rebel Without a Cause, of course. Sheriff Keller patrolling, making sure everything's on the up and up. Cheryl drives in, parks her car, and then gets in Kevin's truck, which Veronica is also in. And
so they're chilling, and then we see Fred and Hermione are there. They're chilling, and then Fred's like, hey, remember last time we were at the drive-in when you kissed me? And she's like, ha, ha, ha. Okay, I'm going to go get a refill. And he's like, oh, I'll get it. And she's like, no, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Bye. And she gets out, and Fred's like nostalgically glancing at her door, and all of a sudden it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, slam. Alice Cooper holding a flashlight like under her chin, like slams on Fred's driver's side window and is like, Fred.
She says one of the best lines of the series. I'm sorry to interrupt your adultery, Fred, but you need to come with me. It's about the kids.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's so good. So yeah, Fred gets the concerned look on his face, Dad of the Year, and runs out there. And we also get a little bit of like the Southside Serpents. The whole kind of gangs in the background. They've got their motorcycles, they're throwing cans, they're like laughing and stuff, and it's really disrupting the film experience for everyone else that's there. So Kevin shushes them, and as he turns around to like shush, which like, by the way, I hate people that shush at movies. Yeah. Like I identified with the Southside Serpents in this scene because I was like, you know what? That's usually what I end up doing at these places. But anyway, it is annoying, especially when it's the last night and they've been ruining the drive-in, it seems like, for everyone the whole time. That's why no one goes there anymore. But anyway, he shushes them and he makes this sultry eye contact with this like long-haired, brooding man back there in a leather jacket. And it's like, ooh, I mean, not a man. He's his age, I will say. But like, ooh, yes.
His peer.
So anyway, he like gets the little eye contact and he turns around. Veronica stands up and is like, do you guys know what happens to a snake when a Louboutin heel steps on it? Which I'm like, too much.
Yeah. Surprisingly, gets a great response from the crowd. They love it.
Everyone's like beeping their horns. And she's like, shut up or you're going to find out. And she's like, I've dealt with worse people in the East Village. I'm like, I doubt it, but all right.
East Village?
I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway, so then Kevin gets up to get some more popcorn for the group. And Veronica, as he gets up, spies her mom
going around the corner,
going to the bathroom, but going behind the concession stand with the same Southside Serpent
from earlier. From the picture. So clearly we got to find out what's going on.
Correct.
Kevin, I also identify real hard with Kevin during this scene because he literally goes up to get a refill of popcorn. He's like, can I get a refill and a soda? And then he goes, and a hot dog? Who am I trying to impress? I was like, oh my God. And gummy worms he asked for too.
Kevin sees the other couples making out in the car and he gives up. He's like,
and gummy worms and a hot dog. I'm like, yes, Kevin, just eat through your feelings. Like, we've all been there. Yeah.
So he gets all his goodies and then he turns around.
Oh, who is it? He smacks right into that long-haired ruffian from before who's like, oh, not so tough without your beard, huh? And I was like, I love how this kid automatically knew that Kevin was gay.
A Southside Serpent, but also impeccable gaydar.
Right? He's remarkable. Like, I recognize.
So then we go behind the concession stand and Hermione is handing off a wad of cash. First of all,
Hermione.
I'm impressed with how many times in this podcast I've been able to say wads of cash. There's a lot of cash exchanging hands.
Like all the cash in that bag, like wasn't it? Whatever.
The Southside Serpent gets a bag of cash from Hermione, and he's
like, "Where's the rest of this?"
Classic. Where's the rest? Maybe we need to talk to your husband about this. And
she's like, well, as long as Hiram's in jail, you're going to be dealing with me.
Good luck with that.
And he's like, all right, we'll be in touch. I'm like, ooh, that seems menacing.
Veronica sees the whole thing go down. So then we
meanwhile, back in our least favorite story.
Cut back to school where it's nighttime. I don't know. How did Archie get into school at nighttime? No one knows. Archie drops in on Miss Grundy to give her
a new bow for her cello?
A going away present, if you will. He gives her a new bow for her cello, which, by the way, he pawned a guitar to buy.
Are they expensive?
Bows for I probably because you gotta have that nice bent wood.
Where did he get it?
I mean, if he pawned,
I wrote
guitar,
where did he get this? Amazon? Like where? Like where?
Yeah, he had to drive to New York to get it.
So he's got like Prime 2-day shipping on a bow for a cello.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, he gives her the bow and says, basically we gotta stop seeing each other. We gotta end our lessons. We should end our lessons.
I think it's best for both of us.
And they're like on the same page.
She's like, yeah, okay, I get it.
I'm gonna miss you.
Which like I thought like maybe that was the moment she was gonna turn dark and be like, no.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know. True. Although she has in the past been like, we can't do our lessons anymore. But
that's true.
I thought that would just be like she's in control of when they do the lessons. If he's the one that says, I think we should break this off, if she would freak out a little bit.
It's true, yeah.
Trying to understand her motivations here.
Yeah. So they're saying goodbyes. Everything is very peaceful. They're about to have one last goodbye kiss when look who it is.
Guess who comes
Alice
in?
Cooper is in the house.
Knock, knock. It's Alice, followed closely by Fred and Betty. And she's like, well. Like, she is so happy. She's like monologuing like a Bond villain. She's like, here we all are. Here's the evidence. I think we can see. Betty keeps a very meticulous diary. We know all about everything that's going on.
Yeah, Archie, why don't you explain what you and Mrs. Robinson have been doing during your music lessons?
And we're like, drama.
Yep. So that goes bad. And then also going bad, Kevin is being beat up by the...
No. What?
What?
Oh, no. They're actually just making out real hard.
He and the Southside Serpent that confronted him outside the concession stand are making out.
They are like getting up against this fence. Like, yes. This is the most intense, like, sexual stuff we've seen, and the whole show has been from Kevin. Like, to be fair, that's legitimate.
There was Archie and Grundy in the car in the rain.
You're right.
But
I put that on my mind because I hate her.
True. We learned that the Southside Serpent's name is Joaquin.
He's like, let's exchange phone numbers, and he's like, oh, your last name's Keller, like Sheriff Keller? And he's like, yeah, is that going to be a problem? And he pulls up his sleeve and he's got the Southside Serpent tattoo, which is like a dark mark tattoo, essentially. And he's like, is this going to be a problem? And Kevin is like, he doesn't care. He's like, I won't tell if you won't. He's like, oh, I got a bad boyfriend. Like, yes, Kevin.
Yep.
Boyfriend from the wrong side of the tracks.
All right. So there's a new ship for you.
Thank God.
Kevin and Joaquin.
Yeah, what is it? Wavin?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like Wavin or something. Yeah. Anyway. Back at the Grundy sting, Alice is saying,
oh, God,
they're clearly guilty.
She's like, she's a child predator. She's not denying it. I think we'll take this to the sheriff and let the wheels of justice take over. Like, she is ready.
She's
so happy about this.
What's her motivation here?
We find out in a second because everybody, Archie's like, we don't have to do that, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, this is like really, Betty's like, why are you putting, she's like, why are you putting Miss Grundy on trial? She's like, no. This is to show you how terrible of a kid Archie really is.
Yep.
And
look at what animal he is sleeping with his teacher.
And Fred is like, this is about like your vendetta against like a 15-year-old kid. And she's like, yes, it is. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. And, Archie's like, yeah, you're right. I'm like selfish and stupid and I don't deserve to be your daughter's friend. But don't punish Miss Grundy. And, Betty's like getting more desperate and desperate about what?
Betty plays her hand impeccably here.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, she's not getting desperate. She says, listen, if you do this, if you take this to the sheriff, I will tell everything and confirm that the Coopers are like, what
she says, I'll tell everyone I broke into Miss Grundy's car and robbed her and made up the whole story. She's like, it'll be like I finally snapped like Polly and prove everyone in this town right. Everyone says, crazy runs in that family. And then like she takes a pause and then she goes like mother, like daughter.
Ooh.
I'm like, ooh.
Betty. Nicely done.
Oh, no.
So that
I wrote, this is some real-ish.
Yeah. So that kind of corners her mom. And Grundy finally says, listen.
She's like, I would do it.
She would do it.
She would do it.
Grundy says, listen.
I'll quit and
I will leave town. Let me just end all of this. I'll pack up my things. I'll be gone by morning. So there it is, folks.
Exit stage left, never come back.
Rest in peace,
so much.
Archie Grundy, whatever it's called.
Yeah, Garchie.
Yeah, Garchie, RIP 2017 to 2017.
Yeah.
Then so now that drama is over,
perfect.
We cut back to the Keller house where Kevin and his dad are catching up.
The door's open.
But the door has been busted open.
I love how Sheriff Keller draws his gun, but doesn't tell Kevin to wait outside. He's like, there could
a little, like, arm.
I guess, but like all of a sudden it's him and like, his 15-year-old son just behind him, like not armed, just like walking in, like, yeah, Dad, like you got me right, like in case there's a murderer in here.
Yeah.
I guess to be fair, your dad's a sheriff, like, he won't be that worried. But anyway, he's not like stay outside or anything. They go in and they see that all the Jason Blossom evidence has been stolen.
Yeah, the murder wall is gone. Uh-oh. That's a problem.
Guys, this is getting
real.
complicated.
Yeah.
Up in here.
Bum, bum, bum. So then we go back to the Pembroke, speaking of complicated, where Veronica confronts her mom again. She says, I saw you with the Southside Serpent. What is going on?
I'm not believing your lies anymore. I saw you being really sketchy.
Mm-hmm. And Hermione says, I was just handling your dad's business. Your father hired the Southside Serpents to devalue the land that the drive-in sits on.
Yeah.
So that he could buy it at a lower price. And apparently the lodges have spent all their money on this parcel of land.
Why?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to wonder.
And how, that's such a long con, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Go to this family-friendly drive-in and devalue it by, like, going with your gang week after week after week after week until no one goes there anymore. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Hiram Lodge, calm down. And Veronica's like, Dad is doing this from jail. Like, she's like, so Dad is kind of, and Hermione's like, your dad's a businessman. He saw an opportunity and he took it.
Yep.
And she's like, this is kind of wrong, Mom. And she's like, oh, it's wrong. Did you like your personal shopping account, your Hermes bag? She's like, those are just things. And she's like, no, that was our life provided to us by your father. So it's kind of like, she knows it's wrong, but she's also like, we were reaping the benefits of this. This is like a very sticky situation. And he's running all this from jail. Yeah.
And it's very interesting that Hermione says, old Riverdale is dying. Your dad is just helping it along.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Like, that's very,
just sad because old Riverdale is like what Jughead like wants to keep.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very interesting that, like, what is killing old Riverdale? Is it the greed of the lodges? I don't know.
I don't know. It also seemed like the Blossoms wanted that land when the mayor was like, don't tell them.
Don't tell
I don't
Blossoms.
know.
So, I don't know. It's just interesting if we're trying to figure out what's killing old
greed,
Riverdale.
You know what it is? It's parental. It's the darkness creeping in from the parents to the kids' lives because the kids are just like, let's go like hang out and like watch a movie. And the parents are like, let's get this land for our money. Like all this stuff.
Yeah. Those socialist children just want to have public spaces for everyone to enjoy.
How terrible of them. It's only like they have one mall and one movie theater. Like, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that very dramatic, lot of bombs dropped in that scene. Then we get back to Archie's house where Fred comforts the heartbroken Archie.
Oh yeah, he's
listen,
like, you're a good
kid. This is not your fault. A surprisingly sweet scene.
Yeah, that was
come
good
out of
between them. He's like, you're not all those
gross.
things you said. You're not stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me repeat. You were a 15-year-old boy that was entranced by feminine wiles of a teacher that took advantage of you, and she's creepy and terrible.
Very true.
Hug it out.
To fully cleanse the Grundy story, we go back to the Cooper house where...
This was a really good scene.
This was a
between
great scene.
Alice and Betty.
Yeah, Alice says, Betty, listen, Polly kept a lot of secrets. We can't be having that. I need to keep you safe. To which Betty replies with, say my name.
She's like, what's my name, Mom? Say it. She's like, Elizabeth Cooper, which Chris was like confused that Betty was short for Elizabeth.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. I did not know that Betty would be short for Elizabeth.
Wait, whose name is that? I was like, that's her real name.
Is this more Dark Betty stuff happening?
I know. She's like, what? Her alter ego is named Elizabeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and she's like, right, I'm Elizabeth. I'm not Polly. Archie's not Jason. Stop using them as an excuse to control my life.
Yeah.
Which is what she's been doing so far.
It's true. Like, they've both got good motivations. Like, Alice Cooper thinks she's trying to keep Betty safe from
she sees
whatever.
She sees a kid that can derail her daughter very easily. Her other daughter, she's like lost to like a mental breakdown.
Yep. But Betty replies perfectly, which is, don't use this as an excuse to control my life, and don't, project what you want me to do onto me.
Right.
Don't try to control me just because I'm your kid.
Figure out her own life without living in the shadow of like, oh, she might go, kind of what she said to her mom, like, confirm crazy runs in that family, like mother, like daughter, just like Polly. So like she has a lot of pressure on her to not be like that, but she is kind of already a little bit like that, as we saw in the last episode. Like something like weird happened with her.
Yep.
Like something does right in that family.
Yeah.
I will say.
That's a good point. What's going on with that?
Yeah.
So then she texts Archie from the window to kind of wrap them up. Like, they're all good again.
Yeah, she's like, I'm sorry about this. And he's like, it's okay. You were trying to help me.
And then
friends again.
Yep. We fade into our end montage. So Grundy is leaving town. But
finally.
But
I will say, Betty is doing the voiceover here, not
Oh,
Jughead.
that's right. Yes, Betty is narrating
She's like
to her
writing her
diary.
diary again. Dear
Yeah.
diary, love makes you do crazy things.
It's true.
Maybe I was wrong or maybe I was right. And she's like, maybe Miss Grundy was dangerous.
Mhm. And then in that scene, the video that accompanies her saying maybe she was dangerous, Grundy has the Lolita glasses on again and is scoping out some fresh man meat as she gets into her VW bug.
It's like these kids that look like they're on the cross country team, like jogging on
Yeah.
the weekend, and she's like, oh, gross.
Giving
She's
them
getting
the
in her car to
long
leave.
up
And
down.
seriously, she
Yeah.
looks like she was gonna jump them.
Yep.
Sexual panther.
And then we go back to the drive-in
God.
where the film runs out of the final reel in the projection room.
Oh, yeah.
Jughead is
It's all
packing
over.
up some of his mementos from work.
He's got a picture of him and his little sister when they were
Yeah.
kids at the drive-in that he takes because, he works there and he's like packing up his backpack and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And he's like getting a lot of stuff and we're like, well, he's getting a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's got a whole backpack. He's got all kinds of stuff.
And in there, there's also like a hot plate and a cot.
Yeah, and we're like, wait, what? And then it zooms out and there's like a bed. And
Yeah.
we're like, was he
Wait.
living there?
Hold on, what?
Was he living there?
So he
oh my God, my sweet BB, sweet summer child. He was living there, you guys. And now it's getting torn down and he has nowhere to live.
So,
Oh God.
and we get that confirmed because he walks outside and the sketchy serpent confronts him.
Yeah.
And
He's like, well, they're finally tearing it down.
and
They're going to
Jughead
rip it all to pieces.
Makes a joke about, oh, maybe they'll tear it down one by one, keep it in the attic of the town hall, and then rebuild
it and like find out who we were because he like graffitis on. I also like this joke where it was like Jughead Jones, like author, like
yeah.
like really really long-winded words, and then he graffitis on the side. Jughead Jones was here. WUZ. I'm like, no, he would not do that. It was ridiculous. But anyway, he drew a little crown on graffiti, and
It's true.
yeah, he's like, oh, maybe they'll rebuild it and wonder who we were. Mm-hmm. And then the Southside Serpent goes, so where are you gonna live now?
To which Jughead replies.
And he goes, I'll figure it out, Dad. Oh, and then he says, I always do.
Yep.
Like he has not lived with his dad for a very long time. And then he walks away across a field and all the bikers are like rolling in and I got goosebumps over my entire body and it faded out and it was like Riverdale.
That was,
You guys.
That was a very delicious scene.
You guys.
Like, very...
I like want to cry thinking about it.
The old subtle bomb drop.
Oh my God, I'll figure it out, Dad. No. Oh my God.
Got a question for you.
Oh my God. What?
Is Riverdale good?
It's so good.
This wasn't
I
really
was
good
like the most.
episode.
This was like the most shook I've ever been. Like it was just well. Okay, so first of all, we know his dad is in a gang.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know his dad knows Hermione Lodge. Like she did say they went to high school together. Like that might not have been like a lie. So like they know each other.
Yeah.
He knows Hiram Lodge. Jughead's dad is taking money from Hiram Lodge, which means Jughead's dad is like is he like the head of the serpents? He's the one dealing with her, and he's the one telling everybody to go devalue the drive-in land. And also, how shitty of a dad is he that he's like, yeah, I'll devalue the drive-in land where my son works and lives because he doesn't want to live with me because I'm in a gang.
Yep.
Wow. And then he's like, oh, where are you going to live? Like, was he hoping that Jughead was going to say, oh, now I'll come and live at home with you, Dad? Or, like, no, it didn't really seem like that's really what he wanted. It seemed like he was kind of rubbing his face a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, not in a mean... I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't particularly mean, but it was...
Yeah. Oh, the tangled
not
web we
good.
weave. Yeah.
I don't know. What did you think when you saw that? Just the same thing. Your mind was blank because you were like, hashtag
Okay,
shook.
so I had a slightly different reaction to this because I'm like, because
I love Jughead so much, so...
I know you do. And it's a good scene, and it's very...
This is what makes you love him, because you're like, oh, no.
This is what makes you love him. And this scene is very, like... I feel like that is a little bit soap opera-esque to say, you know, like, I'll figure it out, Dad, and, like, very dramatic. But
he didn't deliver it like that.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. Like, you know, it's like, it's a very sad scene.
So heartbreaking.
But it's not overly dramatic. It's like, it's pitch perfect for what it is.
God.
So
Where is he gonna live now?
I'm curious to see what happens. It's, you know,
Oh my God.
it is teen drama-y, but it's not too much.
These problems matter.
It's
is
not
these
like
problems matter.
that.
I
No,
know.
it's not like that though, because it's like, this is a problem.
That's
that
what I mean.
matters.
These problems really do matter.
Right, exactly. Unlike One Tree Hill, where it's like
These
the problems
problems
are
matter.
the basketball game. Yeah. It's good. I liked this scene. This
was great.
I like this episode. I mean,
it's a perfect ending to the episode, because as soon as this ended, because after the third episode, because we watched all of this on Netflix, remember? So we watched the first two, and they were so stylistically strong. Which the third one kind of left a bad taste in our mouths. Didn't really like it as much. We're like, okay, let's see where they go with this. Watch this one. As soon as this ended, we were like, well, now we got to watch the next one. Like, we have to find out what happened.
Yeah, this one reminds me of like a better, more entertaining, also more serious, less tongue-in-cheek, less self-referential, like OC. Like, it's like the fun, it's like the funness and levity of the OC, but it's also not like being so meta about things.
Well, yeah, I mean, let us not forget in the OC when like they're in Chino, with the whole screen is like blue and grainy, and when they're when they're in Orange County, it's like bright and sunshiny and beautiful. But this is kind of similar. I mean, the Southside Serpents are clearly like encroaching on the north side. Yeah. We've not seen them before. And now we know that like one of our main characters, his dad, is a member of this gang. So we get the feeling that we're probably going to see more of them. Yeah. Since we're going to see more of Jughead's dad. And, you know, they mentioned that he was fired from his previous job. So like, I don't know how you make money like gang member in full time, but I don't know. All those sweet drug deals. They say, and petty theft.
Yeah. So bottom line, we're both on board. I'm still on board for more of the stuff from the first two episodes, and I think you're on board.
I'm here for episode 4.
Yeah, exactly. So tune in next time. Join us next time as we discuss Chapter 5, Heart of Darkness.
And that's the novel title, actually, and I hated that book, so we'll see what happens.
Fun fact, I hope none of my high school teachers are listening right now. That was the only book I didn't actually read in high school.
I mean, like, you saved yourself a lot of heartache. That book was so like, hard to read.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could have gotten through it, honestly. I barely got through it, and I love everything in English class. I would read everything ahead of time, and I struggled so hard with this book.
Yeah.
So, but literally, anyway, Heart of Darkness.
Next episode, Heart of Darkness, where we say one last goodbye to Jason. Or do we?
Ooh.
Zombie Jason.
We're going to delve deeper into more darkness.
Yep.
And more drama on Riverdale. Chapter 5.
Follow us on Twitter oh my goodness.
Follow us on Twitter.
I need some speech lessons here. Follow us on Twitter at Casual Critic Pod.
Tweet.
Like us on Facebook and Instagram at Casual Critics Podcast. And you can always reach us at casualcriticspodcast@gmail.com.
Always.
Rate and review us on iTunes. That'll help us get the word out about the show.
Please do.
Still waiting on some reader mail. We'll read it.
Still waiting on that reader mail.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.